Hello, Dr. Thompson here, and welcome to our spinal care class. Um, right now, what you should do is, try to turn off your phone. We want to make sure there's no distractions with this. And also, grab a sheet of paper if you don't have the one that was given by our front desk, so you can write down your special codes. Um, Basically, we do this special code because we want to make sure that you get all the way through this information because it's really, really critical for your care. We have people that are doing corrective care, so you really need to know this information so you get the best results possible. There's people that are doing that are taking this home to their spouse so they can review it with them so everybody's on the same page and so they can make a decision. But anyway, I've been doing this a very long time, and I just know that when people take the time to really learn about their health and their condition and in our program when they're going through it, they for sure get the best results. Also, we're going to be going over information like what caused these problems, what do we got to do to fix it, what do we got to do here, what do we got to do at home. Also, things that may be aggravating it, things like, how you sleep or your workstation, things of that nature. And even if you're kind of just if you're not doing corrective care, or even if you end up not doing any care in our office at all, you're going to learn how to help yourself so you don't have as many flare-ups and problems. So grab that piece of paper, and the first number we're going to write down, and we'll be doing this periodically throughout the program. And right now, just write down the number 1, okay? And that's the first number to your code. When you bring this code in again, you give that to Jen, and she'll have 2 special gifts for you, and it can save you up to $200 to $300. So well worth your time. Okay, let's get going and get started right now. Listen, in our office, we have a mission here to save lives physically, financially, spiritually. That sounds a little strange, but as we get to the very end, this will make a lot more sense to you. Real quick, a little bit about me. I was traditionally trained as a chiropractor. After chiropractic school, I did a lot of postgraduate education on nerve system correction, on spinal biomechanics, on sports nutrition and detoxification of the body. Anyway, due to kind of some of the way we treat people, I was lucky enough to be selected to work on the Wellness Advisory Council, which is team doctors and lifestyle coaches for a lot of our Olympic professional athletes. So I've worked with USA Wrestling, USA Judo, Colorado Rapids, also USA Weightlifting team. Anyway, I say that not to brag, but what I want you guys to understand is that what I'm going to teach you right now not only can make a huge difference for your life, but if you can learn this and implement this stuff for your family, it can actually absolutely change your family tree. Basically, what we do here in our office, we're all about trying to get function. We're not really treating symptoms. We're going to get into that a little bit, but we're all about function. When we're dealing with our Olympic professional athletes, their health is super, super high. So they brought us on because they want to win more gold medals, win more world championships. So they go through this program that I'm going to teach you right now, and they get a little bit faster, a little bit stronger. When my patients do this program, it's unbelievable. We get miracles that occur in our office on a daily basis. People come in and they have, what drives them in is their pain or their symptoms, but we just try to get to the root cause of it. And not only does their pain, their symptoms get better, but then they lose 20, 30, 40 pounds, then they no longer have type 2 diabetes, their allergies are better, and we're going to kind of show you how we go about that. So let's get started. Our itinerary tonight is we're going to teach you the truth about health and the truth about healing, also kind of just explain the treatment, go over some office policy stuff, and then I may have sent your x-rays with you too if you wanted those sent to you. So let's get started right away. First of all, we need to go over a little bit about the truth about healthcare, because there is a lot of misinformation out there. Traditional medicine, our healthcare model is all based on treating symptoms. It has nothing to do with causing your problems. We want to get to the root cause of those problems, okay? Now, a lot of people think that we have the best healthcare model in the world. And, we believe that because that's what we're told. But I like to just go over some statistics to kind of show you exactly where we rank with our health and this model that we're using. If we look here in the United States is 6% of the world's population, yet we take almost 75% of all the world's medications. So we're told that if you're healthy, or excuse me, if you're sick or if you have pain, we're told come to the doctor and they give you a medication to fix your problem. I mean, that's the healthcare model that we use. But if that model is a good model for us, and if we take 75% of all the world's medications, and medications fix our problems, then that means we should have the healthiest population. But when we look at statistics, some very basic statistics, in the United States, 83% of Americans develop heart disease or cancer. Okay, if you add in all the new millennium diseases like women and thyroid issues and diabetes and all this stuff that's running rampant, ADHD and all these, brain conditions, we get up into the 90th percentile. So basically, we're number one in how many drugs we take. We're number one in how much money we spend. Yet, number one cause of bankruptcy in our country is medical conditions and health problems. So here's an interesting fact. We are the sickest industrialized nation in the world. The World Health Organization did this report, and they just ran all the statistics on how many people get heart disease, cancer, and all this stuff, and they run all those numbers. And they tabulated how healthy the population was, what was the performance of their health system, and then basically they wanted to know how many dollars are spent per capita. And let's look at where the United States ranks. So if we look down here, here's the top 10 leading countries: Oman and Malta, Italy, France. So they're all doing pretty good. And then we get all the way down here. There's the top 10. And here's where the United States ranks. We are the 72nd healthiest country in the world. I mean, we're right ahead of Bhutan and Nicaragua. Okay, our health system performance is ranked 37th, yet we're number one, we spend more money than any other country in the world. So we're not getting a very good bang for our buck. We want to change that, and how we change that is what we're going to teach you here today. So really important stuff. One of the reasons we are so unhealthy is because our healthcare model says that, hey, you're healthy. If you feel good, you're healthy. I mean, you don't go to the doctor when you feel good, do you? No. I mean, you wait until you have some sort of condition or some symptom, okay? But you can't judge your health by how you feel. Every disease process known to man, the last thing to show up is a symptom, and the first thing to leave is a symptom, okay? So if we just take the two leading causes of death that we're told, heart disease and cancer, which kill 800 to 750,000 people per year, let's look at when you first experience symptoms with that. The majority of times, the first physical symptom you feel with heart disease is a heart attack. And depending on the research, 60 to 70% of those people, what happens? Well, they die. Well, was their heart healthy the day before their heart attack? No. Was it healthy 6 months before or a year before? Probably not. Okay? So again, we can't judge your health by how you feel. If you've known anybody that's died of cancer, I mean, it's really, here's the stats on cancer. They say that on average, we have cancer developing for 9 years before we get enough cancer cells in our body that creates a symptom, and then we go in and get it diagnosed. And then once you're diagnosed with cancer, again, depending on the research, you have 4 or 5 to 6 months before you're what? Before you're dead. And in that time, I mean, I think I read a while ago that the average cost of cancer nowadays is 1.3 million. So every disease process starts off as some sort of malfunction in the body. And once you get that malfunction, it's been there for a long enough period of time, then at the very, very end, you start getting symptoms. So we don't want to wait for symptoms before we start treating stuff, okay? So this is another interesting article. This was done by all these medical doctors: Carolyn Dean, MD, Martin Feldman, MD, Deb Rosario, MD. Anyway, all these doctors got together and they titled this article called "Death by Medicine," and they wanted to find out how many people die from properly prescribed medications. Now, these are not overdoses or people taking the wrong stuff. And what they did was they just tabulated all the government health statistics. And what they found was that ADR stands for adverse drug reaction. And so what they found was adverse drug reactions and medical error account for 420,000 deaths per year. I mean, that's enough to be the 8th leading cause of death in our country. It's funny, though, that we never see this listed in the leading causes of death. Okay? Why that is probably because they wouldn't sell a lot of medications and sell you on their programs. But this is their research, not mine. That's bad enough. When I heard about this article, I went and got it, and then I read through it, and then here's what it said in the conclusions. It said, although the documented cases number 420,000, research shows as few as 5% and no more than 20% of iatrogenic acts are ever reported. Now, iatrogenic is a medical term which means hospital or doctor induced. So that means is that what they're saying is we looked at the government health statistics, and the documented cases show that 420,000 people die each year from our healthcare system when done properly. But we think that's only 5 to 20% of the real cases because it's not reported that often. Why? Because when they report it, what happens to their malpractice premiums? They go sky high. So I did some math on that. And the interesting thing is that at the time I put this together, there was this plane crash and it made worldwide news because it killed all 300 something people on board. Well, I looked at this number. I said, if this is only 5 to 20% of the actual cases, well, the math, if you do the math, that means that 2.1 to 8.4 million people are actually dying each year. I mean, that's equivalent to 35 to 140 737s plummeting to the ground and killing everybody on board every single day of the year in our country. Okay? So, like I said, we're not getting a good bang for our buck, and what they're telling us just isn't the truth. Okay? So we want to get to the truth here for you. This is what our healthcare model's given us. Okay? We wait for symptoms to appear before we start treatment. Okay? So, those medications, then we go and we get these symptoms. Then we go into the doctor and they give us medications. Well, those medications cover up our symptoms and we feel great, right? But it doesn't treat the root cause. So if we look down here, we feel better. The original disease process gets worse. Over time, those medications cause additional health problems and side effects, which then create what? Symptoms, which we use medications, which we feel better, which create side effects. And it's this big positive feedback loop. Excuse me. It's a brilliant, brilliant business model for repeat customers, but it's really, really scary when you look at what it's doing to our country. Here's another alarming fact. This is from Fidelity Investment in 2017. And it said the average couple, so a man and a husband, if they were to retire in 2017, they said you better have $260,000 saved up just for your out-of-pocket medical costs. That's what the average American needs to save. Why is this critical? Well, because we start teaching people about nutrition and things of that nature. I tell my patients, listen, you need to eat this food organic and buy this organic because it's been shown to have this pesticide or that pesticide, which has been shown to cause this cancer or that cancer. And I hear my patients all the time say, you know what, doc, I just can't afford it. Well, I'm here to tell you right now, you're going to pay now or you're going to pay later. Okay? So, really, really critical. I mean, I would rather spend money on some good, healthy food so I don't get all these cancers rather than have $260,000 in out-of-pocket medical costs. So is this really healthcare what we're doing? I mean, we're bombarded with abnormal nerve function. We're eating the standard American diet that's causing all these abnormal function in the body. Lack of exercise is causing all these problems in the body. The toxic load that's in our society is causing abnormal cellular function. All this stuff causes abnormal function of the body. And when that abnormal function is there for a long enough period of time, then we start getting these symptoms like allergies or obesity and pain, headaches, cancer, heart disease, diabetes, intestinal problems, thyroid, depression, on and on and on. And what do? Well, we're told, oh, you have all these problems over here on this side. Well, let's just take a medication so you don't feel the allergies. Let's take a medication so you don't have the pain in your head. Let's take a medication so your blood pressure lowers. Okay, but if I take away the medication, what happens to my blood pressure? It goes right back up. So we're masking the problem. We're not getting to the correction. Okay, and ultimately this stuff does cause what? Bankruptcy when we get it. If you don't get anything else out of this class, just remember these two things. I believe God made the body, and I believe God doesn't make junk. He designed your body to be a self-healing, self-regulating organism. So your body needs no help to heal. It just needs no interference to that normal process of healing. Okay? So you can imagine if you have allergies now, you didn't have them earlier. It just happened over what? Time. What happened during that? Some sort of abnormal function, majority of the time caused through lifestyle issues. Okay? Now, at this point in time, stop right now and grab your pen, because the next number I want to give for your code is the number 8. So write that down. So right now you should have 1-8 for your code. Okay? Let's keep going. Now that I've depressed you, let's get into, hey, what's true healthcare? Well, what we teach in our office is these 5 essentials. These are 5 essentials of health, okay? And it's called the RENEW program. RENEW is just an acronym. R stands for Restoring Nerve System Function. I mean, this is the missing ingredient in healthcare right here, restoring nerve system function. Gray's Anatomy, that's the medical textbook. The definition of your central nervous system is this. The central nervous system controls, coordinates, and gives function to every cell, every tissue, and every organ in your entire body. So if you don't have a properly functioning nerve system, and your nerve system controls every cell, tissue, and organ in your body, it is impossible to be healthy. And quite honestly, this right here, this is why we get such unbelievable results with all of our patients, and such great gains with their overall health. Okay? So we'll go into this later. Is that all we need for health? Absolutely not. Okay? The body, we got to treat the body as a whole. E stands for what I call eating natural God-made foods. We were not designed to eat all this processed foods they're made with chemicals and things of that nature. So what we put into our bodies, that's the only thing we give our bodies for our bodies to heal and repair itself. Okay, so listen, we're made up of 70 trillion cells. Those cells are dying off all the time. They only have a lifespan for a little while. And then when our body needs to make new cells, guess what? The nervous system, the central nervous system, which controls, coordinates, and gives function to every cell, tissue, and organ, that's what controls the making of a new cell. Okay, but what ingredients does it need to have to make a good, healthy cell? Well, it needs what? The stuff we're putting in. So whatever you put in your body, that's the only thing you're going to get to heal and repair. So really, really critical. N stands for nourishing the mind. What does that mean? Well, listen, everybody wants to be healthy. I've yet to do a class and I've had people say, oh, I don't want to be healthy, doc, make me sick. Everybody wants to be healthy, but the healthcare industry is a billion-dollar industry, and there's just so much misinformation on what a good diet is, what good health is, how to exercise, blah, blah, blah. I spent over the years $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a year going to all these seminars, keeping up with the latest research on nerve system correction, on nutrition, on diet, on toxicity in the body, and then I do classes at my office at no charge for my patients. Okay, and no charge for my patients, no charge for their family, no charge for the community. Why? Because we have to deal with learning what to avoid and how to live our lives so we don't get sick. Okay, in order to get good health gains. So this is all free, but if people don't come to these classes, or if you don't come, if you're doing corrective care, if you're a patch care, and you don't learn what's a good way to eat, or learn the truth about it instead of all these fad diets, then guess what? You're never gonna get to that place of being healthy and happy and living an abundant life. The next one is E, stands for eliminating toxins. Now, we live in a society where, again, the toxic load is huge. Again, from the pesticides in foods to the skin women put on their face. Anything you put on your skin, 70% of it is absorbed into your cells. And all these toxins in the research have been shown to cause abnormal cellular function. Well, if your cell can't function, and that cell's part of your heart, is your heart going to be able to function properly? If that cell's part of your kidney, will your kidney be able to function properly? No. So we teach our patients in these classes, and we teach them how to avoid toxic exposure first and foremost, as much as possible. We're all going to get some of it, and also how to eliminate all those toxins from the cells so the cells can function at a higher level. Last but not least, down here, W stands for working out to increase oxygen. Again, every disease process known to man thrives in anaerobic environments. Anaerobic means when there's no oxygen. So we want to oxygenate all of our cells and all of our tissues. Okay. We teach our patients metabolic conditioning or surge training. Basically, if you can do 12 minutes of exercise 3 days a week, we can oxygenate all of your cells. You can get in great shape. More importantly, as we oxygenate all of our cells, it makes it very difficult for all these disease processes to thrive. Okay? So when we do all of this stuff, we get unbelievable gains. Okay? So how do we teach the nutrition and the mindset and the detox and the exercise? Well, listen, we have all those classes, but you need to attend the classes. I don't have time to go over all this information with each person individually. Okay, you'll also get a little workbook. When you come to the classes, we can give you information and you can take home and start changing lifestyle. You only come in here for a few minutes a week, but you're at home 24/7. You need to make the changes. So not only do you need to learn the information by attending those classes, hey, make those necessary lifestyle changes. Okay, because you change when your habits change. You keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. You've all heard it. That's the definition of what? It's the definition of insanity. So that's what we need to do to get really good, healthy bodies, okay, and have your body to start heal and repair as well as possible. Now, let's get into why we're here, and the most important thing is health essential number 1, which is restoring nerve system function. And you know what? Let me explain. Let me backtrack real quick. You know why we say this is number 1? Well, because, food's important, right? But you can go a couple months without food before you die. Water's important. You can go a couple weeks without water. You can go a couple minutes without air. But as soon as you have 1 second of no nerve supply, that's when you're clinically what? That's when you're clinically dead. So we need to get as close to 100% nerve system function as possible for your body to be healthy and to be able to regulate everything, okay? So again, like I explained this over and over, but one more time, just so you understand, everybody understands this, God designed our brain, its only job is to send messages down the spinal cord, go out all these nerves to control all the organs in our body. So for your heart to beat, your lungs to breathe, or your intestines to digest food, these messages from the brain have to travel back and forth at 100% level. I always tell folks, listen, if we were to cut this nerve to your heart, what would happen to your heart? I mean, it would stop, right? Is that a belief or is that a fact? I mean, that's a fact. And so we understand that, and we learn that in 3rd grade. Now, when people bring the spine out, when our spine should be nice and straight this way. Oops, get this out of the way. Nice and straight this way, but from the side view, right, we should have these curves in our spine, just like this, and you see in this picture. Okay. Now, when we have a normal spine, when it's nice and straight like this, and we have these curves from the side, there's no interference to these messages traveling back and forth. Okay. So with normal alignment, how well does all these organs and how does your body function? Well, it functions well. Okay. Now, when people get what we call subluxation is when you get some sort of misalignment in your spine, you start clamping down on one of these nerves. Okay. So if I was to clamp down on this nerve here that happens to go to my heart, and now only 50% of my messages are getting from my brain out to my heart, how well is it going to function? Yeah, I mean, it's going to be less than function, or 50%, or 40%, 20%. Basically, I mean, it's not going to stop. We're not cutting the nerve, but we're going to get some sort of abnormal function. If we get a subluxation down here and it goes to our intestines, we're going to get some sort of abnormal function. Now, is that a belief or is that a fact? I mean, that's a fact. I'm so tired of hearing that I don't believe in chiropractic when there's nothing to believe in. This is not a religion. It's just how your body functions. This is natural law, okay? Even when we look at these spinal nerve charts, Right here is your spinal cord. This from the side view, you see how it's nice, and we have these great curves in through here. And then here's all of our nerves that come out, these levels. And if we look at this first cervical nerve up here, this is the areas that's supplied by those nerves. This goes to the head, the pituitary gland, the scalp. And then, but when we start getting malfunction of this, what are some of the conditions or side effects? Headaches, nervousness, insomnia, amnesia, epilepsy, tiredness, dizziness. We come down here to thoracic. This goes to your heart and the valves, also the coronary arteries. This can cause functional heart conditions and chest pains. Down here, the gallbladder. This can cause gallbladder conditions. You get down here to T10. This goes to your kidneys. That can cause kidney problems and things of that nature. So if we look through this, take some time if you want to pause this right now and just look down this road and look for any of these different conditions that you may have. And it can be caused from what? Abnormal function of your nervous system and that proper nerve supply being able to get out there, okay, to that certain organ. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Sometimes pictures are worth 1,000 words. So this is what subluxation causes, okay? Number one, it causes abnormal function. What does that mean? Well, if I have a subluxation right here and I'm clamped down this nerve and it's going to my heart, am I going to get normal function or abnormal function? Abnormal. How often? 100% of the time. 100%. Number two, it's going to cause abnormal cell growth. Well, what do you mean by that, Doc? Well, I just told you that your nerve system controls every cell, tissue, and organ. And when they die off, our body, what controls the making of new cells? Well, your nerve system, right? So if I clamp down on this nerve going to your heart, is my body making normal or abnormal heart cells? The average heart cell only lives 1 month. Your body makes you 12 hearts a year. The body's amazing, right? The average alveoli cell in your lungs only lives a day. Body makes those every day on a daily basis, okay? Average skin cell lasts 7 days. Body remakes those. Average heart cell is a month. The oldest bone or oldest cell in your body is a bone cell. Bone cells live 7 years. So in 7 years' time, you're going to have a completely different body, okay, according to science. Now, I said it would be completely different. I didn't say it was going to be better. How much better it's going to be depends on what you're doing with those essentials we just talked about, okay? So going back to this, if I have subluxation here and this is going to your heart, does that cause normal or abnormal cell growth? Okay, abnormal. If it goes to your kidney, abnormal. Okay, well, what's a collection of abnormal cells in your body called? If you know that answer, it's not good. So listen, we take subluxation as serious as heart disease and cancer and diabetes and all this because that malfunction of the body is what subluxation causes. Okay, so it ends up causing disease. Now, if we look here, when you're in here in my office, I told you if we were to cut one of these nerve roots and kind of look down that nerve root's kind of like a telephone, or excuse me, a computer wire. It's a big wire, and if I cut that wire, there's a whole bunch of little wires inside there. Okay, only 4% of those little wires are what we call nociceptors or pain fibers. So research shows at the nerve root level, we have to get up to 40% compression and a whole bunch of loss of function of these function fibers before we trigger enough pain. Okay, so I have patients come into my office and they say, "Hey, doc, yeah, what?" I say, "What happened?" They say, "Well, I bent over to pick up a sock and I started having pain," or "I slept funny, doc, and now I have pain." And I look at their spine, and their spine is, their neck is bent the wrong way. I'm going to show you what this causes later on, but it's bent the wrong way. They just started feeling pain. What I know at that point in time is that's when they finally got 40% compression, 40% loss of function, and then they triggered enough pain fibers, okay? As we start, you're going to see, as we start getting things back towards normal and the pain gets better, well, guess what? We're taking pressure off those pain fibers so you feel better. But that's only 4% of what's going on in your body. The other 96%, we're taking off pressure off all the function fibers, and those function fibers go to all those internal organs to keep you healthy and well, okay? So, listen, has nothing to do with belief. It has nothing to do with believing in chiropractic. It's just how our body's made. If you remember who Christopher Reeve is, he's the guy who used to play Superman. Well, he went. I don't know if he believed in chiropractic or not. Right? It's not about belief. But he was riding his horse. Excuse me. He was riding his horse. Had to pick this up. He was riding his horse and he went off this jump, and people think he severed his spinal cord. He didn't sever it. He had severe compression up in this brainstem area. But once that happened, okay, his heart wasn't working. He was on a machine to beat his heart. His lungs didn't work. He was on an iron lung machine. His kidneys didn't work. He was on a dialysis machine. His intestines didn't work. People had to push on his stomach for him to go to the bathroom. His arms didn't work. Legs didn't work. Basically, everything from here down, where that injury was, from here down, shut down, didn't work. The question is, did he injure any of those organs in his fall? No, he didn't injure those. He just severe compression, severe nerve system irritation, and he blocked those messages of health and healing from the brain to all those organs. There's no difference what happened to Christopher Reeve and the patients that come into my office and their subluxation issues. The only difference is how much pressure is on there. The more pressure, the faster these things shut down. Less pressure, they're shutting down. It's just going to take a longer period of what? Of time. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's get going now. Let's get into normal spines again. Like I told you, when you look at your x-rays, we digitized all those x-rays. Basically, we put your x-rays in a computer program. We put little dots on all the corners of the bones, and the computer program does all the measurements, and it measures how close to normal or how far from abnormal is it, a rotation, a lateral flexion, and it does all that for us, okay? So technology is great. You used to have to do all that by hand. But if we look from front to back again with your neck, on your x-rays, the green line is where your spine should be. Everybody knows your spine should be straight. The red line is where your spine is. So what you need to know is the red line should be where? On the green line. Okay? So again, if we look here, the red line and green line, that's perfectly straight spine, normal, looks great, right? If we look from the side view, here's the teeth and the head. If we look here, ideal curve in the cervical spine should be 42 degrees. That's ideal. There's a little bit of a range there, but ideal is 42. Okay, so if we look at this green line and the red line, that's pretty dang close, okay? Now, ideal is 42 degrees. If you want health, you better know this number. You should have a 42-degree curve in your neck, ideally, and you should have no forward translation of your head or posterior translation. Those are measured in millimeters, forward or backwards, okay? So it should be 0 degrees. It should be straight up and down from C2 to C7. Okay, those vertebrae in there. And if we look at this red and green line, it's pretty close to normal. So how well do you think this person's body is functioning and healing? Well, pretty good. How healthy are they? That's a little bit of a trick question. They have the opportunity to be healthy because their nerve system is functioning well. However, what are they putting in their body? What are they, or do they have a lot of toxic load? That's why we treat the body as a whole. Okay, so this next slide here, if we take, these are just kind of samples to kind of give you visualization of what's going on. If we have a normal curve right here, this right here is a cross section of the spinal cord, an MRI. So if I was to take this person and let me get this way, if we were to slice through here and we look down the spinal cord this way, this is just a cross section of the spinal cord. So where this red arrow is, if we have a normal spine, that spinal cord is nice and big and healthy. What do you notice about this curve over here? See how the red line where they're at is pretty straight? It's a 10-degree curve. Ideal is what? 42. So this is a 75% loss. And then if we look down here, this is a representation of what happens. Okay? Look at how small that spinal cord is. Because if we start doing this to our spine, we start stretching, okay, all of that spinal cord in there. When you stretch that, what happens to this? When you stretch something like a rubber tubing, if you stretch it, it gets thinner and thinner and thinner. Okay, and that would affect abnormal function wear from here down, or your lower back from here down. Now, most important area is your cervical spine. Okay, there's some of you out there who we just have lower back X-rays because you came in with lower back pain. Quite honestly, if you're doing care in our office, first thing we're going to do is going to take an X-ray of your neck. Why? Well, because we can fix your lower back to 100%, but if you have some problem in your neck and it's clamped up in your neck area, are you going to be able to get those messages of health and healing down the lower back? Not at 100% level, and you can't tell by how you feel. The only way you can tell is by having X-rays and looking at that alignment. Okay, so lower back should be 40 degrees is ideal. In the neck, 42. But we're only going to go over necks here because that's the most important, but it's the same concept. If we look here, here's a side view of this neck. You see how it's bent the wrong way? And here's a cross-section MRI. So basically they're taking a slice this way with this MRI. And just kind of represents when you can see these bones and how they're bent the wrong way. And here's the brain stem here. Here's the spinal cord. And when this is bent the wrong way, what's happening to that spinal cord? You see how it's just getting shut down? Now, if that's your spine, I mean, how long do you want to leave it there? I mean, do you think this is causing abnormal function? Absolutely. It's causing some sort of abnormal function in the body. Okay. Don't believe me. Here's just some excerpts from some research that I put together from these loss of curves. Dr. Wright's a medical doctor. He says, decreased blood flow from abnormal spinal curves is a major factor in all disease, including cancer. If we look here, Core 1979, the textbook, basically says faulty posture, which that can mean loss of curve in the neck, causes a weak immune system, means people get sick all the time, causes organ disease, muscle tension, and increased sensitivity to pain. And Journal of Bone and Joint Surgery, all the way back in 1981, saying you losing these spinal curves increases mortality. What does that mean? That means that speeds up death and takes up to 14 years off of life. Journal of Geriatrics came out with one where it showed that a kyphosis in the spine can take up to 20 years of life. And a kyphosis is when you have a complete reversal of your spine. Okay? Like in the neck, a kyphosis would be bending it the wrong direction. Okay? So, people come in to my office and they go, oh, doc, I slept funny. I got pain in my neck. And I look at their x-rays and it's bent the wrong way. And I know what? I know that that causes abnormal function, abnormal cell growth, and according to the Journal of Bone and Joint Surgery or Journal of Geriatrics, that can take up to 14, 20 years of what? Life. Now, the major symptoms of having reversals in your neck and cervical problems are chronic neck pain, tightness in the traps, chronic headaches, sinus or allergy problems. And what do people do with all that? They take meds and meds and meds and meds. Now, are all allergies caused by this? No, but that's one of the big symptoms of this. And if we're just covering up, how do we ever get to the root cause? And are the allergies the problem? Is the neck pain the problem? Is the headaches the problem? Those are not the problems. That's the symptom. That's the warning signal. Okay? The problem is the abnormal alignment and causing abnormal function. Okay? So they're treating symptoms all the time with all these meds. So they're not, it never goes away. We have to get this back towards normal, and then people start getting healthier and better. How do we get subluxation? Listen, it could be from old falls or sports, motor vehicle accidents. I have people that say, well, I've never been in a motor vehicle accident. I've never had a problem. Well, a 5 mile per hour fender bender can cause up to 4 G's of force. If we look here, I'm going to show you a little video here real quick. This is a 6 mile per hour accident, and the head acceleration went to 13 G's of force in the neck. Okay, so check this out. Where's play here? If we watch this, little tiny fender bender. Okay, everybody walks away. No big deal, they think. Watch how far back his head goes. Okay, pretty far, right? Interesting thing is the only damage to both these vehicles is a little fastener broke right here. Now, watch this. This is real speed. Watch how violent this is and watch his eyes. Whoa. So people can get something, a little 6 mile per hour accident. This person probably he'll have some sprain strain injury, be sore for a couple of weeks, then it goes away. But guess what? You bend your spine back and forward that fast, you rip all those ligaments, your body heals with scar tissue, and it's called ligamentous creep. And when your body heals with scar tissue, you get a little bit of misalignment and it gets bent a little bit, and then over time your head weighs 8 to 10 pounds and it bends and bends and bends and bends and gets worse and worse and worse. So you have some sort of initiating factor, and then it gets worse. Okay, I am going to close that out and let's start this again. So Motor vehicle accidents can cause this. Micro trauma. What's that? Well, micro trauma can be anything from, it's not a big deal to sit there at your computer, like this, type. But if I do that, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, week after week, month after month, year after year, I think that might cause a problem in my neck. If you have a neck problem, and we're coming in with that, and we're doing all this rehab trying to reshape this curve and put it back to normal, okay, and you keep sleeping with 4 or 5 pillows, are you helping or are you hindering us? Okay, if your neck has this lateral flexion over here to the side, and this is the way your misalignment is, but you sit on the phone all day taking your calls, are you helping or hindering? So you need to understand your subluxation patterns so you know how to change some of these lifestyle things. Okay, I don't have time to follow everybody around 24 hours a day, but if I can teach you, we'll get much, much better results. Other things that can cause subluxation is stress. Anybody ever had stress? Poor nutrition can cause subluxation and misalignment. Toxins can cause subluxation and misalignment. The birth process is the first place where where people get subluxation. Especially, I'm going to show you what happens with some kids here with like cesarean section, forceps, what's a cesarean section, forceps delivery, vacuum extraction. Those things do horrendous damage to the spine. I'll kind of show you that here in a little bit. So all this stuff can cause subluxation. Now let's get into some so-called, what I call miracles in quotation. But this is the stuff that we see all the time in our office. Okay, but they're not miracles at all. We're just allowing the body to start to function how it's designed to function. So if we look here, remember that 10-degree curve we've been going over and the 42-degree curve? It's the same person, but this is a year later. This is when they first came in, and this is how they are a year later. So they first came in with this 10-degree curve, and when they came in, they had daily migraines, they had high blood pressure, they had allergies, they had 20/50 vision. Here they are a year later. They still had migraines, but it was only once a month, not daily. Sometimes healing takes time, okay? We unclamp your nerve system. Your body has to take time to heal and repair all those tissues. That's true healing. Taking a pill and masking it doesn't mean, and feeling better isn't true healing. But guess what? We looked through here and their blood pressure got normal as they went through there. Their allergies got better. That 20/20 vision, their vision got better. We see this stuff all the time. Now, then, was I curing these things? Was I treating the blood pressure? No. Was I treating allergies? No. Was I treating vision? No. I don't treat diseases. My job is to remove pressure off of your nerve system, put good foods in, remove toxins, and allow your body to what? Heal and repair how it was designed to heal and repair. True health and healing comes from, your body's innate ability to do so. Okay? It doesn't come from a pill or a potion or a lotion. Okay? So, we look at this, according to the Journal of Bone and Joint Surgery, Journal of Geriatrics, we just gave, I don't know what, 5, 10, 15, 20 years of what? Life? What's that worth? I mean, that's priceless, I would say. Here's another lady. She was a teacher here in town. She had a -4-degree curve, complete reversal in her neck. Okay, she had sinus problems, dizziness, insomnia, obese, taking all these meds. Told by 3 different doctors, I'm infertile. Told that she was infertile. She would never be able to have a baby. Okay, so we go through care. This is a year later. Went from a -4-degree curve all the way to a 39-degree curve. And then guess what? She no longer had the sinus problems, no dizziness, insomnia. Weight got better, off all of her meds, and guess what? She got pregnant. I've had 4 people in my 20-year career that have been told they'll never have a kid. They came in with neck pain or a lower back pain. Were we treating people for infertility? No. Do I want somebody to go out there and say, oh, we're an infertility clinic? Absolutely not. That's not what I do. Did I know that she would have a baby? Absolutely not. We've had other people that go through all of our care and they still don't conceive. The issue is, was I treating that stuff? No. My job is to take pressure off your nerve system and allow your body to what? Heal and repair, heal and repair. And if you can keep on learning this stuff, we can get your nerve system corrected as much as possible, and you can change your lifestyle and deal with your nutrition, the toxic and the oxygenation of your body. Your body's going to function at a higher level. And as it functions at a higher level, nature says it's going to heal and repair itself. Okay? So again, this person, this lady here, she had a $75,000 surgery where they drilled up into her sinus cavity. Yet she has a complete reversal in her upper brainstem area, which controls immune system functions. So you'd think drilling out her sinus cavity helped her her sinus issues? No, she got no results. She's been dealing with it her whole life. Yet we correct nerve system function, take pressure off, put good foods in, allow the body to start healing and repairing, and guess what? She gets better. It's not coincidence. This little girl here had this weird medical condition, autoimmune disorder. There's no medical treatment for it. They just give her a bunch of, kept on putting stuff all over her legs. They're like, we don't know why it's coming up. This is all over her body. We look at her neck x-rays that's completely bent the wrong direction. And here she is 12 weeks later. Not a year, 12 weeks. And we go from complete reversal to perfect in 12 weeks. Now, two things. I show this, one, because I want you to understand kids respond really, really fast. Okay, a lot faster than adults. Why? Because they don't have 30 years of scar tissue. So I tell my patients, get your patients checked in here, okay, as soon as possible, because they don't have to have pain. We don't want to wait for pain because that's the last thing to show up. All right, so we need to get those kids checked. Number two, listen, I still see her once every 6 weeks, but she hasn't. This is probably 5-6 years ago. But why would I still see her when she hasn't had any of these problems? Any ideas? Well, it's to maintain. The stuff I gave you for correcting these problems takes a long time. It's like bracing your teeth. Okay? So basically, if you do all the work to put braces on your teeth, right? And then you never put a retainer in, what happens to your teeth? They start to what? They start to move the wrong direction. Okay? So listen, we want to work on this as hard as possible during this corrective phase. If you're doing corrective care, work as hard as possible so we can get the most correction we can. Because the more correction we get, the less we have to do to maintain that. Make sense? At this point in time, what we want to do is, I also want to give you your next number for your special code, okay? And that number is going to be the number 9. So right now you should have 189. We have one more number for you to receive the special gift from us. So make sure you write down 189. Let's go to the next slide. Here's another one. This little guy here went to Saddle Ridge right over here. Little 5-year-old kid, complete reversal in his neck, -6 degrees. When he first came in, he had chronic ear infections, sinus problems, allergies, all these intestinal problems. He had to be pulled from school and homeschooled because he couldn't be around anybody because he kept on getting sick from all the germs or whatnot. His parents were spending almost $800 a month in medications. Now, this kid was like one of those little babies born in a bubble, right? I mean, just sick kid from day one, okay? So here he is with a -6 degree curve. Luckily, one of my patients worked right next to his mom in the cubicle next to her, and she kept on bothering her and saying, bring him into Dr. Mike, bring him into Dr. Mike. She's like, why? He doesn't have neck pain, doesn't need a chiropractor. She's like, no, you don't understand. He does nerve system correction. Finally, this x-ray was taken the day he was supposed to get tubes put in his ears. I said, okay, I wouldn't do that. I gave the options, and I said, I would try this first. But we went from here, -6 degrees, to a 28-degree curve, positive, in 12 weeks. Now, is this fixed all the way? No, it's not back to normal. But that amount of pressure off, we haven't done any nutrition, nothing with that yet. But we go from -6 to 28 degrees, and his ear infection is resolved, no sinus problems, no allergies. He still had some intestinal problems with some weight stuff, but he got off all the medications except for one that he'd been on forever. So, I mean, what's that worth to his parents? And if it's left leg, does this kid have normal or abnormal function going on in his body with the spine like this? And does this cause normal or abnormal cell growth in the body? And if it's left like this, is it going to get better or is it going to get worse over time? And as that keeps getting worse and he keeps getting more and more malfunction in the body, what do you think is going to happen with all the medications that you're going to have to take for all these conditions popping up because he has abnormal function of the body? Okay? Any idea what this was caused from? Remember I told you birth, right? Especially cesarean section, vacuum extraction, and forceps deliveries. I mean, those things research shows they cause up to 70 pounds of pressure per square inch in the cervical spine because they pull up here and they start rotating the head. All that torque goes in the spinal cord. Some research shows up to 90 pounds of pressure is enough to sever your spinal cord. So that's what these things are doing. So whenever I see kids that are, really sick, or allergies and asthma, and ear infections all the time, guess what? Man, better check out and see how well their nerve system is functioning, see what the shape of their spine is like, because it could have been from day one. Okay. I hear this a lot. Oh man, I'd love to get my dad in here, but he already had a surgery, so we can't help him. Well, if we look here, here's a surgical. They put these, these little plates in here. So here's a front view, here's a side view, and we got this person in the front view all the way back to perfect. The side view, we didn't change that much, but we still got some pressure off. My point being, if you've had a lot of people think if you've had a surgery, you can't do chiropractic. Well, nonsense. Wherever you had that surgery, we can't do anything with that because it's fused. But you have 26 different vertebrae. So you better make sure the ones above and below that are functioning as well as possible. Because if it's fused and kinked off there, we better make sure there's no kinks anywhere else in your spinal cord. Because would you rather have one kink or 5 kinks in, trying to get those messages from the brain out to the body for health and function. Okay. All of those x-rays I just got done showing you, I showed you absolutely horrible, and then I showed you perfect. Guess what? I don't get people perfect that often. Very small percentage of people get perfect, and there's a very small percentage of people that have no change at all. Everybody else, it's just a bell curve, okay? Statistics. 80% of the people are kind of right in here. It depends on how bad your problem is when you started, how hard you work at it, are you coming to classes, are you changing your nutrition, you giving your body the right ingredients to heal and repair, okay? So there's a lot of different variables. I just want you to understand what normal should look like. This right here gives you a more typical example of what you can expect in our office, okay? My goal is to get everybody to 100%, but that's my goal. I'm not going to get everybody there, right? But we're either going to get you back to 100 or to where there's no change from one x-ray to the next, and then we know that's as good as it's going to get. So this is a more typical example. This is a 63-year-old gentleman who came in for neck pain. And so when he first came in, here was his x-ray. Now let me bash my own profession a little bit, chiropractic. He came in, he didn't want me to take x-rays. He goes, I've been going to a chiropractor my whole life. All I need you to do is pop me. Why do you need an x-ray? You pop my neck and I feel good for 6 months. Well, are you doing corrective care, or are you just doing symptom management? Because in chiropractic school, they didn't teach us nerve system correction, what we do here. All they teach us is what? Symptom management. Okay? Listen, let me backtrack real quick. I always forget this. We have a little freedom from drugs bin in our office. So people start getting their body functioning and healing, and they get off their medications. I mean, what's better healthcare? Going to the best medical minds in the world and giving you more and more and more drugs, right, to treat your symptoms, or coming somewhere where we just work on the function of your body and we get your body functioning so well that you get off your medications. I mean, the answer seems simple to me. It's harder for others. But anyway, sometimes when I go over those stats on how many people die from properly prescribed meds, they go, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna stop taking my meds." I go, "Whoa, time out. My patients don't get off their medications, right? Because I tell them they're bad. We need medications, okay? Medications are critical for emergency or crisis situations. And I have no problems for somebody, I mean, if you're in a car accident, I'm glad we have all these medications to keep you alive. Or, I don't have a problem, like if your blood pressure is so high that you're super high risk for a heart attack, I have no problem for them giving you medication. My problem is you go into the doc and you have this super high blood pressure and they give you that medication and then they leave and that's it. And then you never see them again. And then in 2 years, your heart is still not functioning properly. So now you have 2 medications to keep it under control. In 3 years, you have 4 medications to keep it under control. Then you still have a heart attack and die, right? What our health model should be is this, is you go into the doctor and he goes, "Oh my gosh, your blood pressure is so high. Here's a medication, okay, so we don't have a heart attack tomorrow." Now, in the meantime, let's make sure our nerves go into your heart are functioning at 100%. Let's make sure that the nutrition we're putting in is really good, healthy nutrition so our body has the right ingredients to heal and repair. Let's get our toxins out of our cells so our cells can function at a higher level, because the body's a self-healing, self-regulating organism. And if you do the right thing for a long enough period of time, it will start reabsorbing that plaque and your blood pressure will come down, and then we can start weaning you off these medications, because ultimately they're just masking the blood pressure issue. So you see what I mean? I'm not anti-medicine. I'm anti our healthcare model of using it for, that's the only treatment. Make sense? So let me bash my own profession. This, like, I'd get back to this. Guess what? Medical doctors aren't mean and bad, right? I mean, people in my family who are in medicine. It's because, that's what they're taught. Okay? It's the pharmaceutical industry has inundated our educational system. The pharmaceutical industry inundated Washington and lobbyists and our research and our hospitals. That's the problem. And there's a reason the top 3 pharmaceutical companies make more money than all the other Fortune 500 companies combined. It's big business, and they're doing it on our health. Anyway, let's go back to this. So this guy came in with this 49-degree curve. Now, remember, we start seeing you. We see you 3 times a week for a month, twice a week for a month, once a week for a month, and then you need to be doing stuff every single day, 5 to 10 minutes of rehab. If you're doing stuff every single day during that intensive phase, or basically on average we get about 10 degrees or millimeters change. That's the average. So every 3 months we'll shoot an X-ray. So this person comes in is 49 millimeters translated forward. So this is when he first came in. 3 months later we look at it, it's at 36. Okay, we got 13 millimeters correction. We're right on track. Everything's good. Okay, at that point in time, I only see him once every what? Every couple of weeks. How often does he have to keep doing his exercises? Every single day, right? So real, and at this point in time, he could be feeling pretty good. Do I care if you feel good? No, symptoms the last thing to show up, first thing to go away. So we have to, spouses, if you're watching this, stay on your loved one's care plan. Keep them accountable, because as soon as they start feeling better, they'll start slacking off on their rehab at home. And it's really, really critical. Okay. So at this point in time, I only see him once every couple of weeks, but he's doing this rehab how often? Every single day. 3 months later, we shoot another X-ray and went from 36 to 26 millimeters, got another 10 millimeters correction. Awesome. 3 months later, went from 26 to 24. Uh-oh, look, we're really starting to slow down. So either this person's not doing what they're supposed to be doing, or that's as good as it's going to get. Does that make sense? Okay, now I believe he was doing everything, but, that's as good as it's going to get. But I surely don't think this is a failure. I mean, would you rather have, I don't know, I mean, this is just hypothetical numbers. Would you rather have 80% function of your nerve system and messages traveling, or 40% function? Which is your body going to function and heal and repair better here or here? Okay, that's our goal. So corrective care, how do we get your life back? Well, listen, we'll do the adjustments. All chiropractors do this, right? Again, this helps improve nerve system function, break up adhesions and scar tissues. All chiropractors do that. But all of this stuff, this is what we do different in our office. Okay, we're about changing lives. So if we look here, WB stands for wobble boards. These wobble board exercises, and that helps rehydrate and increase your disc, ligament, and tendon strength, because we have all these muscles, tendons, and ligaments that surround these bones. Quite honestly, this is why medicine has a problem with a lot of chiropractic, because chiropractors say, oh, I popped you, I put your bone back into place. No, you didn't. You can get adjusted every single day for a year. And if you're not rehabbing the muscles and tendons and ligaments to slowly pull this thing back into place, you're not putting a bone back into place. It's nonsense. Okay? So anyway, we have the wobble board that'll rehydrate and increase those disc, ligament, tendon strength. SCT stands for standing cervical traction. It's the little home unit you'll get at home. We also have it in here. We'll show you how to use it. Basically, it hooks over your door, and it's this thing to help try to restore the cervical curve. HWSW, that stands for head weighting and shoulder weighting. That helps reprogram your brain and improve proprioceptive input. Okay, so basically what that is, remember I told you pain fibers are called nociceptors. Okay, there's another type of nerve tissue called a proprioceptor, and they're found in every single joint in our body. And they're always sending information. These proprioceptors and mechanoreceptors are always sending information to our brain based on mechanical stimulus. Okay, so an example of this function would be this. If I hold these fingers behind my head, I have 2 fingers held up. Now I have 3, now 4, now I'm wiggling it, right? How do I know that when I'm not looking? Well, I know because these mechanoreceptors and proprioceptors are sending information to my brain all the time. Well, when somebody has some sort of misalignment or they have some sort of accident, they get that whiplash type trauma, and then their head, let's say their head gets shifted forward and to the right like this. So here's what their spine looks like this. Okay, how well do you think their nerve system is functioning? Not well, right? But guess what? Every single one of these joints, this person's posture is stuck forward and to the right like this. Every time this person takes a step and they're walking, it's sending information to their brain. Those proprioceptors, all those joints in the spine are sending information to their brain saying, this is normal, this is normal, this is normal, this is normal. So your body starts thinking, that's normal. Okay, so what we do is we have these head weights and shoulder weights. So we put this funny hat on like this. If you can see, we have these weights up here. So if this person's head is stuck forward and to the right like this, we put all this weight on the right. And a lot of times at this time, my patients go, well, my chiropractor's a dummy. He's going to make it worse, right? He's putting weight on the side it's already bent to. But see, your body's a self-healing, self-regulating organism. You have these types of muscles called white muscle fibers. They're not underneath conscious control. Okay, but if I carry a heavy suitcase, in my right hand, do I carry it low, or does my opposite muscles contract and I carry that side higher with that suitcase than with nothing in my other hand, right? So if I put the weight on the right side, and at this point in time, my body goes, whoa, too much weight, so it contracts those muscles on the opposite side and brings my head this way. Put the weight in the front, right? And my body says, oh, too much weight. It contracts the muscles in the back, and then it comes back this way. Now what happened to my spine? Now it's in a better position. So in our office, we have these vibrating platforms that are made to vibrate at the right frequency to stimulate all those proprioceptors, okay, in your neck. It's like resetting a computer. So we put the weights on, your body adjusts and brings your spine to a more normal position. And you stand on those vibrating platforms and it stimulates those proprioceptors and it tells your brain, this is normal, this is normal, this is normal, this is normal. Like I said, it's like resetting a computer. Okay, so then when you're in the office, you're in there for you do that for 5 minutes. You take this off, right? Where's your spine want to go? Well, it wants to go back to where it's been for the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years. But now we've reset that computer and your brain goes, oh no, that's not right. And it keeps on contracting those postural muscles for like 15, 20 minutes even after you leave. Okay, so in the office it's 5 minutes because we got a whole bunch of vibration, and at home, you'll get this stuff for home. You just got to wear this at home. You just walk around and do your normal activities. Make breakfast in the morning, okay? So it doesn't really take time. You just got to wear it for 10 minutes. But you can't sit down and expect it to work. You have to be moving because we have to get some compression on those joints. Let me see here. Messed up my hair. Anyway, so we'll have that. Then we'll also do the spinal molding that helps reshape abnormal ligaments. Basically, you'll get some of these. These are sleeping aids. Again, when does your body heal? Your body heals when? At night, right? So if you don't have normal curves, you'll get one for your neck like this, so you can try to sleep on it. You'll get one here for your lower back. That'll help stretch those ligaments so then our muscles can pull those bones further. Also, artificially open up those curves so our body can heal and repair at night. Our goal is trying to sleep with those things all night. Now, most people can't do it all night. In fact, they get 5, 10, 15 minutes. They're like, oh my goodness, that's killing me. That's all right. It starts to cause pain. That's going to cause splinting in your muscles, and we're not stretching the ligaments anyway. As soon as you start to feel pain, you put them to the side, go to sleep how you normally would. Okay, but the next night, what do? You try it again, you try it again, you try it again. I have a lot of people who hate this at the beginning, and then 6 months later, down the road, they can't sleep without it. They love it. Okay, and then we do the isometric exercises that helps re-strengthen the postural muscles. So if your head, again, was stuck forward to the right, maybe you're doing exercises, all you're doing is pushing your head to the left as hard as you can for 5 seconds and holding it. As hard as you can to the left for 5 seconds and hold it. Doing that twice a day for 10 repetitions. So then we have massage chairs in our office and non-submerged whirlpool therapy that helps with symptoms while going through rehab. You don't have to do that. If you want to get on it, get on it. Basically, I have those. You can go all the way through care, and you're going to get results without doing any of that stuff. But sometimes doing rehab isn't fun, right? So it's nice to at least leave the office feeling good. But you don't have to do it. And then we have the classes and the instruction, the workbooks, your nutrition plans. We have all the support, just trying to help the body heal and repair as close to 100% as possible. So we're doing all this, as you can see with our discounts for the same price as all the other chiropractors are lower. All they're doing is for adjustments. Makes sense? I'm a capitalist. Have the best product at the most affordable price. But this is what we're doing that's a bit different. However, you guys doing corrective care, this is what you're saving yourself from physically, right? So if we look here at this spine, here's these vertebrae right here. They're nice and smooth. In between here, the discs. They're all nice and big, right? Once your spine starts bending the wrong way, it's just going to keep on bending the wrong way. So this person's spine starts bending the wrong way. Now we start putting compression on these discs, start stretching the spinal cord. As these discs compress and get thin, our body says, uh-oh, weak area. Got to cement it. Right? So it starts to deposit all this bone, so you start getting all this bone spurring, arthritis, degenerative joint disease, degenerative disc disease, all the same names for the same healing process. Okay? That's your body trying to heal itself. It would rather fuse this than clamp off your spinal cord, right? And cause abnormal organ function. Okay? Now, what do you notice about the disc now? Very, very skinny, right? So, have you ever heard of a disc bulge or disc herniation? I mean, if somebody has a disc bulge or disc herniation, you know what I know they have? I know they have subluxation. You do not get those unless you have some sort of abnormal alignment. So if you have any of your friends and family out there that have been diagnosed with a disc bulge or disc herniation, guess what? Meds isn't going to fix them, right? Surgery isn't going to fix them. In fact, some of you probably had people that had those surgeries. And how well did it work out for them? Majority of the time, not too well. People do pretty good after a surgery, 2 to 5 years. But research shows after 2 to 5 years, average surgery costs $82,000. And research shows after 2 to 5 years, they have a 74% failure rate. I tell my patients, I wish I got paid $80,000 to fail 74% of the time. That'd be awesome. But if we get to this point, I mean, can we help that? I mean, this is past what I can fix. Sometimes we need surgeries. I send people out for surgery all the time. We see difficult cases here. I'm not anti-surgery. I'm doing a surgery before it's needed, or not doing the right things to keep you out of the surgery first. Okay? And a majority of the time, surgeons know how they treat stuff. They're taught to treat it with what? Surgery. They don't even know that we can fix this stuff without surgery. Okay? So get second opinions, always. But that's what you're saving yourself from physically. Oh, this is my little scare slide. Just look here at these pictures, right? Some of my patients who came in. If you don't feel like ever doing your rehab, because you won't, rehab gets old and it gets boring. It's not hard. It's 5 to 10 minutes a day, but it'll just get tedious, right? And sometimes people are like, oh my gosh, I don't feel like doing rehab. Well, you know what? Fine. Pretend like your eyes are a camera and go click, take a picture of this. Because if you don't want to do this rehab to reshape curves, guess what? Fine, don't do it. But this is what medicine does to put curves back in the right position. They just drill a bunch of these screws into your spine, okay, and into your vertebrae. And I mean, look, these people went there to fix their problems, but these are my x-rays of them. So they're still in my office doing what? Doing the same rehab, still trying to get out of what? Pain. Okay? Look, these screws break all the time. It's crazy. Oh, and here's that research on the 74% failure rate. That's from the Spinal Journal Spine. That's top of the line journal. I love this research. This is my favorite one. Okay, you guys that are doing corrective care and putting the time and effort and money in, listen, you're not wasting your money. Okay, this is an investment in your health, and investments always give you a return. So you may be putting money out now, but you're going to get a return in the future. So I love this research. Again, this is from the Journal of Manipulative and Physiological Therapeutics. They took 300 chiropractic patients, 65 of age and older here, 300 over here, and they did nerve system correction, and then they followed them for 5 years of maintenance, right? So these 300 people did the nerve system correction and maintenance, and these 300 people, you know, they just tracked their health, but they're all healthy to begin with. But the people that invested in their nerve system correction and care, 98.5% of them believed that their care was extremely valuable. Why? They had 50% less medical provider visits. They had 60% less hospitalizations, 62% less surgeries, 85% less pharmaceutical costs, and they only spent 31% of the national average for healthcare. Since these people were all 65 years of age and older, guess what? That translated to a approximately $6,000 savings per year. It was a 5-year study. So what does that mean? The people that invested in their nerve system ended up saving over the course of 5 years $30,000. So pretty smart choice. So be proud of yourself there. People, some of you folks are doing patch care. Either you just want to, hey, I just want to feel good, doc. That's fine. Our goals with patch care, we just want to try to move that spine, from, this causes pain. We can go from here to here. We feel no pain, right? It's not fixed, but we'll try to move it enough to keep you out of pain. And then we want to make sure you don't progressively degenerate or get worse. So just, research shows if you can just try to keep scar tissue out once a month, that should hopefully do it. We're still going to have flare-ups. We're not restoring nerve system function. We're still going to degenerate. Hopefully it'll be a little bit slower. But that's our goals for patch care. What we do for patch care and you folks, we're going to be doing the adjustments, what you're used to. We don't have to do all the rehab. I'm not going to do that stuff at home. Again, we're just doing symptom management. You can do all the massage chairs, in through here. You can still attend all of our lifestyle classes. We want you to get all that information. That's still here for you, okay? How do you get your body to 100%? Listen, you need to make your appointments. You need to do your therapy at home and attend those workshops, okay? And you need to implement the lifestyle changes you learn at those workshops, all right? If you don't implement, it's not really going to help much. How we run our office, the average adjustment here in town costs between $40 and $69. I mean, that's the average just for a spinal manipulation. So my adjustments are $62. They're on the higher end, but we have all the rehab stuff too. So, I mean, which can be, $30, $35 to $60. So an appointment in a corrective care visit at our office can be anywhere from $80 to $120. Again, that includes the adjustment, the rehab, the massage, the lifestyle wellness classes. Again, well, that's kind of provided at no charge. But, the discounts we gave you on your care plan, we will give you those discounts at the end of your plan if you help us keep our expenses down. How do you do that? If you can help us keep our expenses down, we give you those discounts. We want to try to make this affordable for you. Okay? So how you can help us keep our expenses down, you need to manage your own schedule. So you call us to reschedule. You need to give us that advance notice that's in your office policies. You either need to pay your bills on time, make sure your credit card's not declined, that you do like an automatic debit if we don't have to send you to collections. And basically, if we do all, we will have a missed appointment. It's going to be, like a $45 charge on your encrypted credit card that's on file for missed appointment. We're not going to bill you. We just charge it. Now, but if you're doing all this and helping us keep our costs down, then we figure, hey, let's make this affordable for the whole family, and I used to cost $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 for one person to come into my office, and then I was like, well, how come I don't have families in here? I want to be a family practice. Well, what family of four has $32,000 laying around? So, I mean, subluxation is rampant out there. People have it. Majority of people. Usually it's not if, it's how bad. So basically, what we have is what was I going with? So basically, I was like, we just put these discount programs in place, so we can now get a family of four for what it used to cost one person about 6 years ago. So, but we really had to revamp our office and figure out how we can get our costs down. So you help us save on our expenses. We translate those savings to you. The whole family can stay healthy and well, because ultimately it only takes one person to get heart disease or cancer to wipe the whole family out, right? So just so you know, you'll see in our office policies for corrective care, I give a money-back guarantee. And I want to explain why I do this. And it's a little story about, this lady named Carla. And, Carla had some knee problems, and so she took some Tylenol. And then She kept on walking around. Did that fix the problem? No. So then she goes back to the doctor. Doctor goes, oh, that's all right, Carla. Here's some Motrin. You just give her something stronger. So she walked around taking Motrin for a while. Did that fix the problem? No. Goes back to the doctor. Here, Carla, here's some Vicodin. Oh, that's better. Walks around. Does that for a while. Then they go, oh my gosh, Carla. Let's do cortisone now. You notice how we keep on doing more and more potent things to fix her problem when we're just masking symptoms? So she does the cortisone. I remember the first time she had the cortisone, I mean, she felt great, right? And so she got the cortisone, and 6 months later, the cortisone wore off, and then she goes, Doc, give me some more cortisone. That was awesome. Felt like I had a new knee. So she goes back in there, gives a cortisone shot. Now, usually those are $1,000 a shot. You know, you usually get 2 to 3, so there's 2 to 3 grand right there. But I remember the second time, the cortisone didn't do anything. So then guess what they recommend? Yeah, they recommended surgery. They said, hey, Carla, just come in, do the scope, and you're going to be all good, ready to go. So Carla came in, did a scope, and then she had some issues in the surgery, and had some issues with the anesthesia. And next thing you know, Carla, 52 years old, single mom, gets a pulmonary embolism and dies. So I know all about the leading cause of death in our country. Okay, I know all about medical bills causing bankruptcy because Carla was my mom. Okay, so I've been doing these classes and going over this spinal class for 15 years now, and I do it for one person, or I go to churches and explain this information because it is my mission. It's about saving lives. I know for a fact, and I've seen the leading cause of death in our country. And it's from following this botched so-called healthcare model. So in my office policies, you'll see if you're doing corrective care, you know, when my mom got that surgery, I started getting these bills from the hospital that said, hey, they want me to pay all this stuff. Now, my mom was my only family. So we lived in a trailer, and then we finally moved to a double wide. We thought we were like the richest people on the planet. But anyway, I started getting these bills, and I finally called the hospital up. I said, hey, don't send me one more bill for this surgery that killed my mom. And they said, well, Mr. Thompson, in the fine print right here, it does say risk of death, and your mom signed it. So, I mean, you know, the surgery is performed, so, I mean, the doctors need to get paid for their time. I'll never do that to somebody. My mom's entire life savings was about $17,000. And that all went to pay for a surgery that killed her. And then we had to sell our house, and all the equity in the house had to go to pay for what? Surgery that killed her. So remember I told you, not everybody gets to perfect. And we have some people that get no results at all. If you happen to be some of these people, you'll see in my paperwork that I have a money back guarantee. If you don't get results, I'm not going to do. I've been through that, and I know what that feels like. I'm not going to do that to you. I sleep very good at night. So is that fair enough? I hope. Also, just so you know, I do have people on occasion that say, hey, this isn't working. I want my money back guarantee. And I go, well, hold on. You've missed half of your appointments. I've never seen you at a workshop. I mean, I didn't guarantee half a program. You have to put the time and effort into it. Okay? I can do everything perfect in here. And if you're not doing what you need to do at home and changing some of these lifestyle things, I mean, you can't expect those results. Okay? So just trying to be as fair as possible. And that's kind of how I run my office. Now, let's get back to this, our mission of saving lives. Hopefully this makes more sense. You know, how are we saving lives physically? Well, listen, by improving nerve system function, not merely treating symptoms. So our patients can reach 100% of their God-given health potential. Every single time we're restoring curves, we're adding years to what? Life. Every time that we get people off their medications, we're adding years to what? Life. Physically, right? How are we saving lives financially? Well, I just went over at the beginning. We went over the statistics. The average American spending $260,000 a year for medical conditions. However, 95% of all medical conditions are lifestyle related. So if 95% of our conditions are lifestyle related, why do we have this medical crisis? Okay, so we have an entire program set up at no charge so you guys can come here and learn this stuff. So you don't become another statistic. So do you think that can help you financially, help your family financially? Absolutely. I mean, if you keep treating your health like everybody else does, which means, okay, I eat the same standard American diet, I don't exercise, I have abnormal nerve system function, I wait for a symptom to appear before I start doing treatment. When I get a symptom, I take a medication to cover it up. If you treat your body like everybody else, you're going to be average. And where the averages are, what's going to happen? Well, 83% of the time, you're going to get heart disease, cancer, and you're going to have $260,000 in medical expenses. And there goes your life savings. So that's our goal. We want to save your life financially too, or at least give you extremely good odds to do so. And what we mean by saving life spiritually is that, listen, we just try to be positive Christian role models in our office, you know, so professionally and personally. That just means just treating people with love and kindness and respect, and just trying to be good role models. Now, with that being said, that's the only thing you're going to hear. I'm not going to try to get you to go to my church. I'm not going to try to, you know, do anything like that. But you know, I don't. Do you have to believe in God for this to work? Well, no. It's natural law. It's how your body functions. Okay. So you can believe in Buddha or God or natural law or whatever it is you believe in. You know, I happen to believe that God designed us, and that's just my belief. So. Quite honestly, I'm tired of everybody. This is my business, so I get to say what I want to say. So, that's what I'm going to tell people, and that's what I believe. So, but that's all you're going to get. It's not like we're going to. You have to, you know, come to our church or go into some cult or something. That's just my beliefs, and so I'm not going to hide those from people. You're going to get, at the beginning, you're going to get in your little packet when we give corrective care people, we're going to be showing you how to do your exercises and all that stuff. But you're going to get this packet and you're going to get this goal worksheet. And you want to make sure you write down all those goals. You know, take the time and write this stuff. Get your mind right. Write down your goals, and then so we're working for the same thing, and you'll bring these back here and we'll put them in our computer. There's also things like your big why are you doing this, your reasons, your limiting beliefs, empowering beliefs. Take the time to do that. Also, you're going to be getting the Save a Life worksheet. Take some time and do this. When I say our mission is to save lives, it's not just yours, it's those around you. Okay? So, I mean, how many people do you know suffering from headaches or sinus problems or allergies? And you just learned that could be caused from an upper cervical subluxation, which has been shown from the Journal of Bone and Joint Surgery, Journal of Geriatrics, that can take years off of what? Life. Okay? It's not just about saving your life. You know, when my mom died, I mean, she was the only thing I had. That was everything to me. And, you know, the person that dies is not the problem. It's who they leave behind. You know, it was awesome. I had 3 beautiful children. It was great when they were born, and but it was also horrible because this great day when they were born, guess who wasn't there? My mom. So that pain lives with you, and so it's not only about your lives, it's about those and your loved ones. But anyway, we have these Save a Life worksheets. If you look over here, and it just has a big list of all these symptoms, and you just write down somebody's name. Aunt Sally. And they have fibromyalgia, and Uncle Bob has asthma, and the guy at the grocery store has these weird skin problems. Well, just write that down. We're not telemarketers, we're not calling these people, but you bring this in, we make a copy of that. And then when we have our different classes, and when we have classes on toxicity or this, if it pertains to any of these issues, then we can give you a little flyer that you can invite them and they can come with you, because maybe they're taking these meds and they're having these conditions because of what they're doing with their lifestyle. So people need to learn the truth about health and healing. I mean, because they want to be healthy. That's why they keep taking those meds. It's just they're lied to and they're on the wrong path. Okay. Anyway, your special gift. The last number you want to write down is the number 5. And hopefully I gave you the third number, which should have been a 9. So the numbers you need to write down are 1895. So that's 1895. That's actually the year chiropractic was invented by Daniel D. Palmer. That's 1895. You bring that in, your special gift. Listen, you bring that in. All of your family members or significant others that are helping you through this can come into our office within the first week of you starting care and get evaluated and get their nerve system evaluated at no charge. So 100% no charge. Cervical x-rays are usually 82, lower back are 92, exams 100. So you're looking at 180, you're looking at $200 to $300 worth of savings there. Also, for all of you corrective care people, next time you come in, give that to the front desk person. Give them your 1895 code and all the rehab equipment. We'll give that to you at our cost. There'll be no markup on that, and again, that's about a $200 to $300 savings. So again, to redeem that, bring that code that you wrote down and give it to our scheduling account manager at your next visit. And I believe that is all. Quit doing this at the office, and if you have any other questions, I'll see you when you come back in the office, and that's about it. Thank you so much.